So I was talking just randomly with the lady who cuts my hair earlier today, and we got over onto the Me Too movement.
Yes.
And she's not particularly political. I would call her basically conservatarian, small C Christian kind of.
Yeah.
And she's but definitely with a feminist streak, and she's hyper skeptical of the Me Too movement.
As she should be.
And I mean, Abby, we've talked about this some, but I feel like that movement, and as you noted, there are women who are jumping on here just immediately saying, oh, me too, me too.
Yeah, it's payout day.
But I think it has actually hurt women and hurt women's claims when it comes to sexual harassment.
Oh, I think it unbelievably cheapens women's claims to harassment. That means that anybody who has been genuinely abused and harassed, they're drowned out by the cacophony of everyone else.
Yep.
And as the Me Too movement has gone on and on and on, and people have, been proven to be lying about it, it just makes everyone skeptical now. So now it inevitably, the Me Too movement hijacking itself. Standing up for women's rights. Yep. But what has happened, it's cheapened the voice of any woman who actually has been abused. Where it's like everyone, some people will be like, yeah, I'm on your side right away. But by and large, it's kind of like everyone's going to give you a second look, a little side eye, a little like, were you really? I don't know. And that's really damaging for people who've actually been abused and actually harassed.
I know 3 women that I know of who have been either raped or molested, and none of them talk about it. None of them do.
That's very common.
I mean, the person I know the best who had this happen, she was so skeptical during the Kavanaugh hearings. She said, look, I have been through this. I know this. You don't do what these people are doing. You don't go to newspapers. Yeah. You don't relive it. This is not it. You want to die, and you hope it goes away.
It's so awful and damaging and completely changes your life and who you are that you do not say, let's spend a year shining a spotlight on this for the entire world to look at
and relive your worst.
Yeah, because then it's the nightmare again and again and again.
I've told this story. I think I've told it on here before, but I don't know if you've ever heard me tell it. I had some friends in college, and had some friends in college.
Once upon a time, you had friends.
Yeah. So one day I'm in my dorm, and a girl who I knew really well came by, and she said, man, I made a big mistake last night. And I said, oh, that doesn't sound good. What happened? She said, well, I went to see this guy who I've had a crush on for a long time, and things went too far, and it was her first time. And she was also just about engaged to another guy. And so she was just at the lowest of the low. But she was owning it. She was saying, look, I went over there. I'm stupid to have gone over there. I shouldn't have done it. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, she cried a little bit, and it was sad, and my heart broke for her. And so it was a small campus. Things get around pretty quickly. The next morning, about 24 hours later, I'm in the dining hall, and a mutual friend of ours came up to me, and he said, hey, did you hear about so-and-so? And I didn't know who knew what. And so I said, well, what do you know? And he said, oh, well, I just talked to her, and she said the guy who was involved, that he basically raped her. This was 24 hours later, folks. 24 hours. And she came and talked to me. I know the exact story. She owned it. Within 24 hours, the version of it that was floating around campus was that he had raped her.
It's like a nightmare version of the kids game telephone.
Yes.
Where you go around the circle and you try to keep the same word, but it never ever works. Mm-mm. It's like the worldwide game of telephone.
Yeah. And this guy, he's a successful guy now. I mean, if this were to, and I don't think she's the kind of person who would do this. I hope to God she isn't. But, she could come out and start talking about this and ruin the guy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it would be absolutely horrible. And what it did to me was it jaded me every time I have heard, oh man, this guy did this to me. I've thought, did he really?
Did he?
Or are you like my friend back in college?
Yeah.
And that is so tragic. That is so sad.